Hi everyone, and welcome back to the trade reviews. I haven't posted anything about my trades for quite some time, and sorry for that, but it was kind of a bit messy and I was a bit struggling to finding the perfect strategy. And now I was backtesting one, and finally for a month I was paper trading it, and now I am ready to go live with it. And I want to show you today the first week of that strategy in action. So let's jump to it. So let's first have a look at the rules of this new strategy. So this time I'm trading only silver and only looking at the silver. I am not looking at any other instruments. I was still looking at gold while I was backtesting last month and trying to compare gold to silver when they are moving together. However, that was a bit confusing, so silver only. Next one, the time frame. And I am back to the 5-minute time frame. As you remember, in January, metals make a huge spike and it was so volatile that I jumped even to 1-minute time frame and was searching for the setups because they were way lower risk than even on 5 minutes. But that was also more stressful because that was pure scalping. The conditions in January were interesting, I would say, because they might have been profitable, but at the same time the risk was enormous. So after being on this 1 minute, I decided no, this is definitely not for me. And the markets now calmed down in Feb and March, at the beginning of March. So I decided to get back to 5-minute time frame, risk slightly more, but have more clear setups. And next to the 5-minute chart on which I'm placing the trades, I am having 1-hour chart because that helps me to not have a bias and know exactly where the trend is going, especially when there are those consolidations and we are not sure. Then we are having a bit more clear understanding where the price might go when we zoom out. And also it helps me to set up my take profits, as then I see more clear lines, horizontal lines, where the price is having the support and resistance. And the third point might be a little bit crazy because I am trading from 4 a.m. in the morning till 8 a.m. UK time. So yeah, I'm having those very early mornings and also very early nights. That's crazy, to be honest. But I really like the time, and I was looking at it for kind of years, I would say, because even when I was starting trading, I was trading the pre-market before work, and I was realizing that there are pretty good moves on the metals just before. I'm talking here more about gold and silver. I'm not sure about any other ones, but this time of the late Asian session and pre-market of the London European session is very good and very clean, and also very low risk. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. And that time might still slightly change because in 2 weeks we are changing the clocks in UK, going, I think, forward, while in Asia they don't have a time change, the clock change for the summer and winter time, which is kind of amazing because for me it's always so confusing why we're doing even this. Anyway, that might very much impact how the European session is starting pre-market and how the Asian session is finishing. So I will need to observe this in 2 weeks, knock on wood, that it will be okay and still the strategy will be working. But that's something that I need to keep in mind. The fourth point, pretty easy. Trade with the trend. Don't go against the trend. Always with the trend. It's like a mantra. With the trend, with the trend, with the trend, nothing else. And you will see that I made that mistake of going against the trend, and that was a mistake. Fortunately, I got out very fast. And the fifth, the most important rule, is that I am trading the trend line breaks, and I need to wait until the candle will close on the other side of the trend line. It needs to close. It cannot just be on the other side of the trend line. It needs to close. The candle needs to be strong, so small wicks, big body, and the volume needs to be bigger than the previous one. And then, and only then, I can enter the trade. And here I would say a small caveat that when we're having this 5-minute candle to have the best entry, I would enter probably within that last 10 seconds of that 5-minute candle, because the change will be small. However, we will still have the best entry. And what is happening very often at those times is that if the previous candle was good, the next candle can literally explode to the direction that we want to. Or not, but if it will, then you're having the best entry that is possible. And the last thing that I need to work on are the exits, because I am putting the take profit in the correct place, the stop loss as well, but I am not trusting myself and I am not allowing the price to get to my take profit. Usually I am closing halfway. During the backtesting, I realized that those trades should last between 1 and 2 hours, while currently I am closing between kind of 20 minutes, 50 minutes. So still I need to extend the time and be ready for those pullbacks and accept them and just let the price run. So now when we know the rules, let's jump to TradeZella and see what have I done this week. So this time I want to introduce you to the new funded account with Topstep. Yeah, it's another one, unfortunately. But I am trying to keep it as clean as possible. That's why I'm also recording that you will keep me counted. So here we're having that I am $409 and plus on this account. We're having 8 winners and 3 losers. So 72% of trade win is really good. This is something that was coming up from my backtesting, even worse because I think it was 66 something. Every third trade might have been a loser. What I really need to work on, which I was telling you, is the average win to loss ratio, because currently it's 0.5. During backtesting it was 2, but I am still not feeling comfortable on my exit strategy on holding longer, so I need to work on that. And we can see that the first thing was a big drawdown, and here's the calendar. Last week I was not following yet the strategy to the T, and then we will look more closely on this week, but yeah, the first trade was a FOMO trade. I feel like every time when I'm starting the account, I need to have this loss and then recover from the loss to get anywhere. So yeah, my first loss was on the first day. And then we're having this week, and we can see already that I was placing only 1 trade per day, and I'm very proud of this. All the trades from this week, if I will do a date range, we can see that with the date range, all those 5 trades were taken between 4 a.m. and 7:12 a.m. So that's amazing. And we're having the trade duration, so there was a 9-minute trade, a 15-minute, the longest one was 54 minutes, as I was telling you. So we are aiming for that longer trades, and yeah, that was the biggest winner because I was holding it longer. And yeah, here's my biggest loss, 23 minutes. That we will talk about as well. And if we'll go back to the stats, this now are filtered stats only for this week, and we can see that the average win to loss trade is bigger. It's now 1.12, and the trade win is 60%, which makes sense comparing to the backtesting. So now let's jump to each trade of the week to more understand what am I doing. And on Monday we have got $252 win. So that was the first win of the week. That was very good. And we can see here that we have got the downtrend protecting us from the top and the uptrend from the bottom, and we have got 1, 2, 3 points, and the trend line was crossed, and we see that the candle closed on the other side. Here the volume is slightly bigger than the previous one, so I entered at the end of this candle, and then the next candle went down, then the next slightly up, and then it hit the round number of 82.50. And at that point, I wasn't sure actually if we are in the downtrend, because if we'll look at the overall picture, we're kind of made the previous day a huge pullback down. Actually, it was Friday till through the Asian session. Then mid-Asian session, kind of open of the Tokyo, we went up, and we kind of are trying to go down. However, we're having a very strong here support and resistance level, and I was hoping to get to the second support and resistance level as my take profit. However, I saw how the price was struggling to get lower, and I closed on the first support resistance when it started to reject it, and that was a win. And this is one of the only trades kind of that didn't run through further. And the next trade of the week, so Tuesday, we're having that biggest win. So it's $477, and that one also is the longest holded trade, and that one was based actually on the bounce. So here we were going in the definite uptrend, and still we were going uptrend. Then that one was a pullback. And because here we have a trend line, here was a second point, and then the price bounced from the trend line. It made a small fake out, which I included in the new moved line, and then it started to think that maybe we will go higher. So I entered 3 candles further, and well, if you will look closer, this here was 1 hour of holding and holding and holding, and I was literally having my stop loss initially here at the bottom of that box, and then I was slowly dragging it higher along that trend line, with each candle being created. And then when that candle spiked up, I was like, oh my god, finally we are out of that consolidation. It was a happy trade also to hold because it was in profits, and it was just above that entry line, so I was not feeling so stressed that I might be losing some money. And here I closed again earlier, unfortunately, because if we look closer here, it's the round number of $89, and I should forget about those round numbers. And as you can see, even on the side, I hide them. I literally made the text transparent, so I don't see those numbers, because they were very much influencing me. Oh yeah, like you're having a round number, so maybe you should close now, or maybe you should not get into the trade because you were too close to the round number. So that was very distracting. So I hide those numbers, and I am not seeing them at all in Topstep. And here still, unfortunately, if I move the crosshair, I am still seeing it. That's why I closed it on the round number. Happy, almost $500 win. Okay, let's take it. Especially that I am trying to learn how to hold those trades slightly longer and longer, and wasn't ready for another pullback after that whole hour of holding in a pullback. So, well, as I said, I should trust myself, and I should trust my take profits, because the price again hit my take profit that I was initially placing, but I closed earlier. And the Wednesday trade is a loss. And a loss because of the FOMO. Because I saw the trade earlier today. It was around 5:25 a.m. and unfortunately I didn't take it. I was too scared. So we can see that here I marked in the line that that was a downtrend. Definitely. Before also here, we had got a bit of consolidation, but from the upside, we can see that the trend line is getting steeper and steeper. We had got an additional safety line here with new point B. And then this trend line here was having a very far away point A. And then if we look closer, we can see that it was trying to cross this trend line once, but it made a fake out. So what we're doing, we're moving the trend line. Then it tried second time, it didn't manage, so we're moving this trend line. Then here it made like a huge candle down and up. So it wicked down, and that candle scared me a bit because the volume was already bigger on that candle, but because it wicked, kind of indicating that it is a fake out, I was a bit scared to risk it. And the next candle at 525, it literally went down. It crossed also that support resistance with 1, 2, kind of I think 2 points, maybe 2 points. And here was one kind of more and there. So it was also the line that was the first support resistance before that, again, round number of $88. And it closed below. And at that point, I was thinking, yeah, this is a strong candle. This has a huge volume, if we can see here, way bigger than the previous candles. But it already made such a move. And I had a bias that it might not cross that level of 88. And that was the wrong bias, because look, again, it crossed and it went perfectly down to my take profit, and my take profit was at that level here. So I was thinking that the candle might get to the low of Asia session, and it did. And then it went back. And then here I got the second potential trade of a bounce of that trend line. And I also didn't take it. And because of those two trades, I got a FOMO. And then I started to very much at 7 a.m. looking for a trade. And here, that you can see definitely this is not a bounce, but I took it as a bounce. And it's like, yeah, we're going up. And nope. After just a bit of consolidation, but that was already very expensive because it was $400 of maximum loss, which is my maximum daily loss. It was very much consolidating between 0 and minus $400 for me, and I just closed it short. I took the loss of $164, and well, I took a loss. I took a fee because I entered the wrong trade, and I knew about that it was the wrong trade. And I was right because the price afterwards dropped down. But lesson learned. And then there's a bigger loss on Thursday because it's $400. This is my maximum loss of the day. And I was this time, as yesterday, Wednesday, I was too late for the party. This time I was too early for the party because my way of thinking was correct, because the price here in the overall went down. Sorry for the text. Here we can see that there is a support resistance, and the price here was trying to get around that area here. Yeah, I wrote too many notes here. And it couldn't get any lower. And why I'm saying too early entrance, because here we had got the trend line, the downward trend line, and here we can see, yeah, the candle closed on the other side of that trend line, but the volume is smaller than the previous candle. And also what you can see, I entered not on the close of the candle, I entered during the creation of that candle, and that caused that I entered too early, too emotional. I saw that the price, oh, it's going up, yeah, enter. And yeah, maybe this is because I'm waking up at 4 a.m. and I am a bit too sleepy. I entered too early. Also on the 15-minute time frame, I'm not sure if we would see here, but if we would adjust that line here, we can see that on 15-minute, that was a bounce of the trend line and not a break of it. That's why the price bounced, and that's why it went down. And I was struggling with that trade because I wasn't sure where I should exit. I saw that 3 touch point trend line here, and I was hoping that the price will bounce from it. And that was also my maximum risk loss of the day. And I took it because I was very convinced that the price will go up. And well, sometimes the trades are not working. However, also the entry wasn't so good. And we can see that later when we will look at the dashed line, when the dashed line is incorporating that wick of that candle, and also it's aligning with the 15-minute time frame, that candle here, though there was one strong candle and the second strong candle, the second candle closed on the other side of the dashed line, and we can also see here that the volume is bigger than the previous one. And here I placed the paper trade, risking another $400. That should have been my first trade of the day, not the previous one, this one. And that would be painful a bit, that dropped here, but it would hit my take profit here with where I placed it along that tops of the wicks. However, we can see that the price went even more higher. So, well, those 2 losses from last 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, are sad, but at the same time, I saw good setups that were working. So that is a positive thing at the end. And the last day, which is Friday, is $242 win. And that one, yeah, I definitely didn't hold enough. I was this time patient. I knew that I need to wait until the candle will close on the other side of the trend line. Yes, and that the volume will be bigger. So let's see. We have a candle. It closed on the other side. Here the volume is bigger than the previous one. Perfect. We're entering. And here it's the entry, this 10 seconds or slightly a bit more before the candle closed. I think something like 30. And the next candle was very indecisive, as we can see. It didn't know if it's going up, down. Yeah, it was struggling. But then the next candle went straight down, and I'm not sure how you are handling it, but I am having a huge problem when someone is interrupting me while I'm in the trade. And this is what happened here. My boyfriend came, started to ask me some questions. He had got some kind of big problem that I had to help him. And I was in a trade and I got scared. And also I kind of mixed it because I placed here that line as previous day low, and maybe you know that I like to take profits on previous day low or previous day high, and I thought that this is a previous day low. And when I saw that the price bounced here for a second from that previous day low, which was actually Asian low, I just took the money and went to help him. And if I would just not micromanage the trade, it would hit my take profit with the next candle, but also it would go down. I am not so much worried about the rest when the price is going way lower than I was expecting, because still my take profits are pretty big comparing to my losses that I'm estimating. So I just need to trust myself and not micromanage. But well, still it was a profit, and profits are combining. So next week I will try to hold longer. So keeping the trades longer is the aim for the next week. And I hope you learned something from that video and this new strategy. And I will be posting now weekly the videos for that strategy of silver, maybe slightly adjusting it with the time and seeing how is it evolving, and hopefully you will learn also something too. And see you next time. Bye.